not tolerating fats, not tolerating salicylates, and not tolerating perhaps like being exposed to industrial solvent scents. These are all related to amino acid conjugation. Hey, this is part 8 of my detoxification series, where I'm going into really deep depth on all the phases of detoxification, including phase 1 and phase 2 pathways. And this one is on the phase 2 pathway, amino acid conjugation. So one of the most important roles the amino acid conjugation has is actually conjugating bile acids in the role of detoxification. Now, this isn't directly a phase 2 aspect, but it is also important in just like general detoxification in general. So again, the reason why phase 2 is important is because when you get exposed to a toxicant, say for this example, salicylates, your body is going to run that through the liver, go through phase 1 detoxification. Many times the intermediary that comes out of phase 1 is more toxic than the first thing that happened, and you have to run that intermediary through a phase 2 pathway in order to properly remove it from your body. So in most cases with amino acid conjugation, you're taking that intermediary, attaching an amino acid to it, and then getting rid of it. Now, this attachment step is also done with bile acids, because when your liver first makes bile acids, they are fat soluble. What that means is they're only dissolvable in fat. And if you know anything about the function of bile is supposed to break up fat in your diet. So when you eat fat and you digest it, the bile is supposed to make the fat into smaller globules so that your intestines can absorb it better. And this only happens with conjugated bile acids, because when the bile acids are unconjugated, they are fat soluble, so they'll just like kind of like merge with the fat that you have in your intestines. When you attach an amino acid to it, that end becomes water soluble and this end remains fat soluble. So what this does is you've actually created like a little tiny soap molecule here, and this thing is what makes it so that this can break up the surface tension, so to say. Like I know that's not the right word probably, but it breaks up like the big fat globules in your diet into smaller pieces so that your intestines then have a better time absorbing it. And it works because with this fat end and with this water soluble end, the fat end is going to go to the fat that you ate, and the water end is going to make it so that basically the rest of the juices in your stomach can carry this along. And when this thing surrounds a small fat globule, it becomes these little tiny pockets called micelles that you can then absorb. Now, that entire bit is also really important for cholesterol metabolism, and that specifically has to do with taurine attaching to the bile acid. So taurine is one of the amino acids in amino acid conjugation that can attach to unconjugated bile acids to conjugate them. In detoxification, there are other amino acids that kind of attach to other toxicants to get rid of them in phase 2 detoxification. And possibly the most common donor, the amino acid that is used in amino acid conjugation, is glycine. And glycine is also really, really implicated in like a lot of neurotransmitter detoxification, so it's a really important amino acid to have enough of. Then you also have glutamine, arginine, and ornithine that help conjugate nitrogen type wastes that are happening in like the urea cycle, so like preventing you from having a buildup of ammonia. So very often you're not going to have really great amino acid conjugation if you're on a lower protein diet or you have any sort of protein wasting of sorts. And if you have compromised amino acid conjugation, then very often you'll have things like sensitivity to salicylates, bile flow issues where you can have bile stones or like sludgy bile or anything else like that. Or from like a nitrogen front, if you have a buildup of ammonia, then you can have fatigue and brain fog and just not feeling great. So yeah, perhaps the most important amino acids in amino acid conjugation are glycine, taurine, and glutamine, although we also have other amino acids that can connect to the thing that you want to get rid of and then get rid of them. But yeah, the phase 2 detoxification role that amino acid conjugation plays in aside, I think its more important role is to create that conjugated bile acid, because that conjugated bile acid is going to help you move bile from your gallbladder into your intestines. And remember, all of the other phase 2 detoxification pathways, they are moving those toxicants into your bile. So if you're not moving your bile from your gallbladder into your intestines, then you're not getting rid of all that toxic stuff anyway. And quick answer to the question that I know will be asked, this still is the process if you don't have a gallbladder. So if you don't have a gallbladder, your liver will still continue to make bile. The solubility is still important. It just doesn't have anywhere to store the bile. The bile just kind of drips into your intestines, especially when you are very fresh out of that surgery. The bile will just kind of drip into your intestines. Now, there's been some studies looking at people who have had their gallbladders removed like years ago, like 20 years ago when they were younger. And what they found is that the body can actually adapt where part of the bile duct becomes a little bit of a storage system for the bile. So the body is kind of incredible in this way, where you basically make a functional gallbladder out of pieces that you have left, and you still are able to store bile and release it in a little bit more timely fashion when you get exposed to digestive signals, like you're eating food or you smell food or something like that. So pretty cool stuff. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. In the next video, I'll talk finally about phase 3 detoxification. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I will get to them after I finish off this series. Thank you.